In today's episode, we're diving into something that every broker needs to get right when it comes to 2026, and that is tech. I'll walk through the 7 most asked questions when it comes to tech and tools that are shaping the modern mortgage business, from automation to AI to client experience, and I'll explain how my clients use them to save time. Let's get into it. So number 1 is what technology will actually help mortgage brokers build visibility and authority online without turning them into full-time content creators. So I think that this is actually a really good point. So the problem I find with mortgage brokers a lot, not find that they have, is that if you followed every single rule about content, you can end up becoming a full-time content creator. And you do need content. Ideally, with the rise of where everything's going, AI, stuff like that, you are going to need to build a brand. The people who don't have brands are the people who are going to lose, because if you're using, and this is the little backstory on this, if your decision that your client makes is on speed and cost, they are both commodity-driven factors, meaning that it's going to be the cheapest and the fastest. You're never going to beat AI when it comes to cheaper or faster. It's very similar to those models like the L&Cs and things like that. So if you're part of like an L&C model, or you're a model where you're what I'd call a commodity mortgage broker, then that's a big problem. However, the way to overcome that is to build a brand. But the danger lies with building a brand is that you can spend a lot of time building your brand and not a lot of time doing the job. Because if you spend all your time building the brand and not a lot of time, you don't have much time to do the job. And so the balance in that I always find for brokers is, how do you balance being a creative person and then also like doing the job? So there is tech you can use, and that's what's great about AI. It's leveraging tech to do stuff like this. So one of the great ones with this is, for example, ChatGPT. It's going to be probably a big one for all of this, but learning how to use ChatGPT correctly is probably the biggest thing I think people should be looking at. Is technologies that will help them is getting ChatGPT and creating what we call like a master life prompt. So it's like a prompt about you and who you are and what you do and what you believe. And so with me, when I work with brokers, what we do is we have a master life prompt and we have a master business service prompt. And those two together is like how you think and feel, and then also how you operate, and you put the two together and it makes your content really clear. So now when you're making content, if you're writing blogs, you're writing articles, you're writing scripts, you're doing whatever, it comes from a place that is you. It's authentically you. It's not just a ChatGPT pumped out rubbish. But that's one of the things that's absolutely helping people like me and my clients scale and talk about more stuff without spending all that time having to write it, or to, obviously they'll check it and sense check and edit, but you should always do that, but they're not having to be fully involved. So the tech for that is a great one. There is other software out there, like there are things that like you can do a podcast and they can clip. So there's things like Opus Pro, which is a great one for that. So it's like podcasts, it takes clips from it. They're okay. You're still going to be better off making native content, so that's fine there too. But there's a lot of content, like stuff out there. Big View is another one, which is a teleprompter app I use all the time on my phone. It's phenomenal. It allows you to effectively script a video in AI. So using that master life prompt, putting in what you want, scripting the video, tweaking the video, having all the prompts to make it look good and sound good, and then you can put it into Big View, and then Big View will give you a teleprompter script to read whilst recording your videos. And if you look at my Instagram videos, they're all scripted. Everything's scripted. Pretty much everything is scripted I do, except for this podcast. It's the only unscripted thing I don't produce. I produce anymore. It's the only one, because I like doing unscripted, but there's a reason for it, and so there's a value for it. That's what this whole point for here is it should be unscripted for me. But that's another way of using it. So that saves massive amount of time. Clients I work with, for example, we're able to, and I'm able to. Let's say with clients, they're able to do a whole content strategy in about an hour and a half a week. I'm able to make everything I make here in less than 3 hours a week. So the podcast, the YouTube video, the other channel I have, the daily videos and carousels that go onto my content on every platform, it's like 2 to 3 hours a week maximum. So this is all through tech, but it's mainly that ChatGPT, master life prompts and business prompts, and then having like the teleprompter software is a game changer to allow you to then create that stuff, to actually promote it and create it. Question 2 is, which CRM or automation tool gives brokers the best balance between personal connection and efficiency? So CRM or automation tool, there's a lot of different tools here. So go high level. There's lots of white labeled versions of Go High Level, by the way, out there. There's Active CRM, things like that. But fundamentally, they're Go High Level. And Go High Level that's what it is. They're white labeled onto a basic system. So if you want Go High Level, I think I'll put a description in the show notes for you for that. There's like a 14-day free trial, and it's like $97 for 3 businesses to run on it. So it's very cheap. Go High Level, but lots of people like white label and stuff like that. But that's probably the best one. It's very difficult though. So I'm seeing this like 2 years ago. It was kind of emerging. I was using it for about 3 years. 2 years ago, it's kind of emerging. It's now getting to the point now where when I'm on discovery calls with people, when I'm talking to people, Go High Level is brought up regularly as the go-to kind of CRM for relationship management, because I think there's a difference. You have like relationship management is different to like compliance, and I think that's the thing we're seeing. So is this difference between lenders, like networks, providers, so things like Acre and stuff like that, as a different thing to a Go High Level, and a lot of people try to marry the two. They're not the same thing. So the CRM and automation tools, Go High Level, I think, is probably the best one, and it's very, very clever in what you can do with it. I mean, if you're good at it, you can pretty much do everything. You can automate, client onboarding. You can not so much client onboarding. Onboarding's a bit messy. There's a different, better tool for that. We'll talk about that in a bit. But like that, you can automate, as I said, marketing, client follow-up in regards to like email marketing, newsletters, reminders for remortgages. You can have lead magnets. You can have ad campaigns. You can have social media. You can have like automations on social media and reoccurring posts. You can have so much cool stuff, and that's just scratching the surface on it. But it's hard to set up and to use. The learning curve is like a hockey stick. Now, I feel it gives the best balance between that personal connection and efficiency. The reason why is I think that it depends on how you use it. But I think like for a basic like newsletter and for like email marketing and that type of stuff, I think it's great. I think what it doesn't do, which I'm a fan of, is it isn't a CRM kind of reminding system for clients, because I think that what everybody wants, and brokers want this, is they want this, they're quick to automate themselves out of the job. And be careful when you do that, because, which might be a bit of a theme of what we talk about today, but be careful when you do that, because you are replacing yourself for the job. You don't want to be a commodity advisor. You want people to come to you for you. And so I probably would say, be careful when you try to automate any connection to the client. What I love about CRMs like software CRMs like Go High Level is they allow you to effectively those things are on repeat. They are minimum client touch points. You're having a minimum level of they're getting an email once a month from you as a newsletter that is like a repeat newsletter. We normally do a 24-month newsletter that just repeats. So they're getting that. They're getting the remortgage reminder 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months out. They are getting email marketing if they download a lead magnet once a week. They're getting these things that don't require any attention from you. However, they're not getting automation once they connect with you. I think once they connect with you and they're talking to you, that should be you. And I think that's where the kind of balance is that you want to balance it up with that. Number 3 is, how can brokers use tech to streamline the client journey from inquiry to completion without losing control of the relationship? So there is some brilliant tech that I've just started to use, and my clients are using. So I'm not using some of my broker on this, but like my clients are using. And I've been really blown away with it, and I think it's brilliant. And that is Keychain. And they're actually previously been interviewed, I think 2 episodes ago. Jack Rogers there, who's one of the founders. And it's great. It's great. And that's being able to streamline that client onboarding journey specifically. Now, to onboard it to completion, that's a whole different thing. And that requires multiple different tools and different pieces of tech. And I don't want to dive too deep into those because it'll be confusing, I guess. But let's just take a second to talk about this Keychain. This effectively is an onboarding software for clients once they've had a discovery call. So they've spoken to you, they've had that kind of inquiry, and they come on board, which would be mostly done by Go High Level. So Go High Level is going to do a lot of that before they become a client and after they've completed. That's kind of what Go High Level, in my opinion, that's what I think it thrives at. But once they inquire and they become a client, I think different software is required to make it work. You're going to find this is a software stack. So a different type of software is required for that to be good. And so Keychain is a client onboarding software which allows people to They fill out a fact find. It's intuitive. It is, that they do document upload and download. So when you download it, it renames the documents to be exactly what it is. It kicks back documents that aren't correct. So if they uploaded a Nando's receipt to a bank statement, it'll go, nope, that's not a bank statement. And also it won't let you have images. It will only let you do PDFs apart from on ID. It will also do the medical questionnaire, full-blown medical questionnaire that's very intuitive and in line with everything that they do, the providers want. And it has the IDD signing off and stuff. And it cross-references as well the information on the bank statements to the information on the bank statements to the information on the pay slips, and kind of just looks for any discrepancies. You're using AI, and it's brilliant. And it also, why does it streamline it and make it good, is without losing control of it, is it also chases the client. So on any of those things that are outstanding, it chases for you. It does not chase as if it's you though. So it doesn't pretend to be you, which I think is a big mistake that people make, is that they want to have things automated but pretend it's them. Don't be that. Don't do that. Be very open about automation. This is automated, but if I spoke to you before, then don't worry. But that is the type of tech, that's the type of tech that I think you should be looking at. So that's one example. That's just the onboarding. But then I think you should look then at other things of follow-up and reminders. And there's lots of tech like that, like Microsoft To Do, which is free. You can use that as just a reminder, like a hotbox that just tells you when to contact people. So you can use tech and utilize tech very, very well in the customer journey bit from that acquire to completion. But the most important thing, I think you've got to be careful with this. That tech's great, by the way. If you want just so you know, with Keychain, if you want a 2-month free trial of that, so I've negotiated with Jack. He was on the podcast. We spoke about it. I've negotiated for my listeners and my clients and viewers and people of mine that you get a 2-month free trial, and you get to book in a discovery call. I think Jack will take most of those as well. So there's a link to book in a discovery call with him to book a demo and go through it all, and get a 2-month free trial. So go and check that out. But I think the thing with these is making sure that when you're making these, you're looking for this tech, and this whole episode's about tech, but I still want you to understand that your tech is not going to replace a good system. You need a good real process yourself. You need it to follow a specific, what I would say is like a workflow that you follow manually. And when you do that, then you can put really good tech in. You can then build really good tech into those kind of workflows. But at the beginning, it really starts with you, very much you, like learning how to craft that good customer journey. Don't try and get yourself out of the job first. Do it manually, do it all manually, and then try and find the tech. And there's lots of it out there, but a lot of the time I do see people, I regularly see clients, or not clients, but like brokers, prospects, I'd say, who will come to me and it's a tech mess. And it's because they're trying to find the silver bullet that's going to help them revolutionize the business. And the truth is the silver bullet's them being more accountable, being better. That's what's going to revolutionize the business. So quick break before we carry on. If you are serious about building momentum in your business, you need to check out my 30-day mortgage business boost. It's completely free. It is a 30 emails, 30 lessons, and 30 action steps designed to help you simplify your marketing, sharpen your sales process, and get real traction fast. Now think of this as your kind of crash course in building a consistent pipeline on one lesson a day straight into your inbox. You can grab it using the link in the description. It's totally free, and it's helping hundreds of brokers already. All right, let's get back to the episode. Number 4 is what new tools make discussing and delivering protection smoother, faster, and more transparent for clients. So really good one. So again, kind of the same thing. We're going to use, I'm going to talk about Keychain again here. So I don't use lots of tech with my clients. I use it Go High Level, Keychain, Descript. There's a few other things in there. And the reason why is I picked them because they work. But like with this one of Streamline, let's make sure I have the right one on there. So like the new tools for making the protection easier. Well, if we take Keychain for a second, if you have Keychain, and we'll talk about another tool I recommend people should make themselves. But like if we take Keychain gets those gets the medical medical questions, or gives you a medical questionnaire at the point of initial kind of discovery call. And so it's all together. They fill out the fact find and the medical questionnaire. That's huge. When I work with clients in the Mortgage Business Mastery system, that's what we do. We get medical and everything at once. That's why that was such a synergy working with Jack and collaborating with Jack. But like, this is a no-brainer. Like, you want to get the documents. So having something and by the way, if you're not using Keychain like that, that's fine. Getting the medical questionnaire, a medical questionnaire up front, You can make one on Google Forms. You can make one on Go High Level because Go High Level has forms. I have a medical question that some of my clients use for Go High Level if they don't want to use more AI stuff. Like doing that, great, absolutely brilliant, because it allows you to then do the job more smoother, and actually ideally be bringing the protection in at the point of submission call where you submit the mortgage and the protection and everything all together. So that's one of the first things you that's really, really good. And another tool that's really, really cool when it comes to this, and this one you can make yourself, which is a financial resilience checklist, or a financial resilience check, not checklist, a check. And so this is just a Word document, a Excel document. I have one for my clients. It's not one I make publicly available. Because there are certain things I have to keep, to clients and stuff, and we work on this a lot, but my clients have one, but you can make one yourself. And that is an Excel spreadsheet that has the client's income, monthly expenditure, meaning and that expenditure is like 3 month average of, 3 month average of the last 3 months bank statements minus mortgage and savings, and then it gives you a figure of how much then you put in the mortgage amount. So it's income, mortgage amount, 3 months average of spendings, the 3 month average of spendings, and then that gives you like the clear idea of what their resilience is, and then it gives you a percentage, 10%, 20% of your mortgage, 30% or 5% or whatever. And then all you do then is when you delete the figures or you change those figures, it should change the percentages of how much money they are spending on their mortgage every month to their lifestyle, to their available, discretionary spending or available income. And that is known as a financial resilience check, because you can delete it and move it and change it. And then, that's how we anchor this idea of 5% of your insurance being 5% of your income being an insurance. And it's why people will pay big premiums. But that's a really simple tool. That if you have the medical questionnaire up front and you have a submission call and you put that in, it's great. It's a no-brainer. So really simple tool to make. It's not very hard. Anyone in basic Excel should be able to do it. And if you don't know how to do Excel, just Google it. But I think that's a free tool that I think everyone should be making. So how can brokers use simple automation to stay in touch with past clients without sounding robotic? So I spoke about this, I think, earlier, and I'll double click into this when I go deeper. But this is newsletters. So newsletters, we use Go High Level for this. And again, I will link. So I'll make sure I link the tech in all of the notes for this. I think most of the time they're linked in the show notes anyway, because I always kind of try and put my tech stack in there for people. But Go High Level newsletters is this. So what I do is we create newsletters for clients that come out every single month. So once they become a client, we have a 24-month newsletter cycle, which is 2 years. And that newsletters, they repeat. So once they've finished 24 months, they go back to number one. So effectively, it's an indefinite loop. And you can do this on Go High Level very easily. And then they just send a newsletter at the beginning of the month, every month, or whenever you want to set it. And all that happens is when a client completes with you, they go into that. And then they're just in. And they never have to come out. Now, the newsletters, the content we do and we talk, people get this very wrong, is people, when they do newsletters, they talk about mortgages and interest rates and stuff, all that stuff. And the budget's coming up now, or whatever, when I'm doing this one. And it probably would have been out by now by the time I've recorded this, the budget. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And so why I say that is that these clients don't need advice on mortgages. They've got a mortgage. You got them a mortgage. They don't need a mortgage. So there's no point in talking about mortgages with them because you've got them a mortgage. And so that's a really, really funny point. And so what we should do is actually make it more about what they want. So, for example, with ours, it's things like 5 ways to add value to your property, 5 ways to keep your heating down, to keep your heating bills down, but keeping your house warm. 3 things you can do to your garden that make it more attractive. How to, these things like that are home tips, home advice. And those are very evergreen and they just repeat. And this is a really simple, very nice way of interacting with clients without losing that touch with them, but also not boring them to death with things they have no interest in. So I am a big, big fan of this. Clients use it very effectively. You do that on Go High Level. So you can use Go High Level for that. Really, really simple. It's just automation with 24 email templates and then wait 1 month. That's it. That's the automation. That's it. So it's wait 1 month and then email template email number 1, all the way up to email number 24. Create those, link them in, and then just create a form to add the client in at the top. And it's really genuinely that simple. So number 6 is it better to use an all-in-one CRM or build your own stack of specialized tools? 100% build your own stack. So story with this one is a little story on this one is that people come to me a lot. Some very well respected names in our industry, interestingly enough. And I won't say who they are because I have a lot of respect and time for them, but I get them a lot messaging me and they will say, Ash, what's the software you think I should like? I want to do all this stuff. What software does this? What one software does this? And I've had this happen for years. So first of all, I'm not a software guy. I think people think I'm a software guy. I'm a business coach for mortgage brokers, helping them with sales, marketing, and retention. That's literally what I do. That's my kind of thing. Sales, so all forms of sales, protection sales, fees, closing the mortgage deals, closing clients in general, winning more high value clients and stuff. Marketing, generating leads, and then retention is keeping those clients back again and again and again. That's what I do. But obviously within that, software does fall some parts of that. And I'm a massive obsessive nerd on all this stuff. So I do know a lot about it, but I'm not a software expert. And I think that people come to me and they're like, Ash, can you do that? What would you think about it? Now, my take on this, very, very clear, is that if you're trying to find, it's that jack of all trades and a master of none. So when you find a bit of software that's promising you, and I think Acre, not always, but you've seen this with Acre is like one of these. There's ones out that do this. I don't think Acre does this. I think people do this for Acre. I think a lot of the time the CRMs aren't doing this, but people talk about them like they are. As in, so it's not their fault a lot of the time. But like Acre, for example, is a really, really good customer, like a customer compliance and regulation software where that's what it is. But it's not a full compliant journey, customer journey software. They're kind of like minoring in that, but they're majoring in like compliance. That's what their thing is. So if you want to be the cutting edge best at everything, you need to have a stack of tech that you're going to move around and change and work with always. So like I said, if I was to be working with clients, you're going to have things like, okay, I'm going to need, and this, by the way, is one of my biggest gripes with this, is when people are like, oh, well, I'm spending a lot of money on software. Yes, you should be. And be very wary when it's like, oh, but it's only £250 and this thing covers everything. Okay, fine. Except it's not going to be as good as everything else. And I do think like you're going to have, like I would say with my clients, is we have go high level for customer relationship, as in prospects and retention. That's the kind of marketing and retention is there. Sales, Keychain. We use Keychain. That's the kind of thing we use there for Keychain. We use Keychain and we use Microsoft OneNote. No, OneNote, Microsoft To Do is the other one we use. So Keychain and Microsoft To Do. Now for content creation, we use Descript. We use Captions. We use BigView. We use ChatGPT. So the other one we have Fathom. So when we're recording content, when we're doing sales calls, we have Fathom. So we have Canva. We have lots of these things, these very large lists of subscriptions, Gamma for slides and presentations and PDF downloads. There's so much that we have. And they stack up, of course, but they allow you to be better. And I think this is what I think that people are going to miss out on, is the people who go cheap and tight and go, I'm going to do it all in one system. It's not always cheap and tight. It's either they want to do it all in one system because they just can't be bothered to do it, or they believe it can be possible and they just want it all there. So it's easy and simple. The problem with that, though, is you're going to be at a big disadvantage because someone who's utilizing all of them is going to beat you significantly. So there's that. The other one is the cost thing. Like, I don't want to pay for that. A lot of this software, though, is replacing like staff costs. So a lot of this stuff is replacing activities that would cost you a lot of time. So for example, with me, my content creation quality and output and things like that, I will pay and have paid many, many times, thousands, tens of thousands actually at this point, like upgraded my laptops to be, and the whole system to be able to produce content in like a video like this in say 30 minutes as opposed to producing it in 3 hours. Well, that's significantly valuable. It might cost me 10 grand to buy the microphones and the cameras and all of that stuff. But then the output of that over the long period, the investment is significant. And now it means that I'm able to produce high quality content at a rate that my competitors can't keep up with unless they want to invest. And then even if they invest, they have to then learn. So there's a whole lesson within that. So I think you need to have a specialized stack. You need to know how to use them, and you're going to be rotating those out as better ones come along. Because in the next kind of 3 to 5 years, it's going to be just a game changer of the amount of stuff that's going to swap and change, and new emerging ones are going to come in, and other ones are going to die, and it's not being married, I think, to any one specific one. So have the one your network uses for your compliance, but then take a step back and look at what your kind of sales, marketing, and retention stack is. And my honest advice is you're probably going to be budgeting anywhere from £500 to £1,000 a month, truthfully. As these costs, they're going to get more and more and more. They are just going to get more and more and more. And the advisors who aren't willing to pay, doesn't mean you should pay everyone, by the way. I'm not saying that. But if you're not willing to pay, you are going to get left behind. You are going to get left behind because it's not the same. And I get it with me. I'll have it sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes with clients where they're like, well, that's the same as this. I'm like, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. But you can't see it because you're not in that world. But it's actually completely different. It's not even in the same ballpark of what we're talking about. And so we need to be aware of that, in my opinion, is that I think splitting the stack is going to be the way forward, not having it all in one software system. Number 7, we're waiting for this one, which is how will AI realistically support mortgage brokers in 2026 and beyond, and where should we draw the line between automation and authenticity? This is one that I've been pondering a lot on, and it is a very real thing, which is where do we fit in a more ever-growing AI world? And interestingly about AI is I'm very interested in AI. I work with a few AI companies, and I also spend way longer than I'd like to admit listening to podcasts about AI, what's coming, not just how to stuff with AI, but also kind of predictions and futures of what's going on. So AI is an interesting one. It's going to come like vengeance. It's going to be very, very, very popular. And I think to tell you all this is that next year will be most likely 2026 and 2027 will be 2 very game-changing years and just kind of industry-shaking years, in my opinion, because the rapid rate of adoption of AI is going to get more and more and more. If you think in this perspective that AI only came out in November 2022. So I'm recording this podcast now in November 2025, and I can't remember my life without AI. Well, I can, but like I couldn't imagine the level of production I could do. This podcast would be very different without. I wouldn't have all these questions. These questions are all been generated from AI, from my master prompt, and all these other things I spoke about at the beginning. So I wouldn't be able to output or scale my business in the way I have. And many of my clients wouldn't be either. Some of you guys are still living in the world before that, and that's fine, but it won't be fine for much longer. You are going to be forced into being aware of it. It's just going to happen. So how do you balance it? I think you have to adopt AI. My opinion for AI is you adopt it for back office things, and you push humanity and human forward. So the front should be, you need to build a brand, you need to market yourself. Video content, branding has never been more important. Never been more important. This is the time where it's important. And now is the time to create it, because if you've got probably 2-year window, if you're not making it over the next couple of years, it's going to get very, very hard. And the reason why I say that is because people are going to choose very much so to buy and use people because they want to work with people. And this is the whole people buy from people thing, but it's actually going to be a really big driving factor of many people's decisions. Because as much as there are people who like AI, there are many people who also want to deal with humans and not deal with AI. And I think sometimes, by the way, AI companies miss this. There is a real weird kind of balance. And so I'd say you can't be a broker who is completely anti-AI and not using it, because you're going to be steamrolled. But I think it is a balance of using it in the back end and you being in control of the front end where possible. There will be optimizations and automations and things around that, obviously. And there might be like things that, like, you know, the automated booking links and things like that. And maybe like, but I think be careful to automate and to synthesize is the word I probably would say. The idea, the front end client facing stuff. I think that's the stuff that's going to get hard. And I think that realistically is how you balance it. Is we should draw the line between what is human. A human role is when I talk to another person. An AI role is everything else. So your research is going to be done by AI, your initial onboarding, like all the stuff we said with Keychain, that's all AI. That's all great. The automation of the email marketing, reminding clients, all this stuff is brilliant. But I think the actual, from discovery call and submission call and the kind of follow-up in between, that's really it. Discovery call, submission call, and follow-up in between. That is, in my opinion, human and should stay human. And it should stay, you can be optimized and be able to see more people with it, but I think it should stay human. I think if you do that, you will ride that line of a really great boutique kind of modern post-AI era business. I think that it's going to be an absolute Wild West where we're going next. And I'm excited, but gosh, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely, as my mum would say, it's going to be bonkers. If you found this one useful, make sure to follow the show and check out our backlog of other episodes. And don't miss next week's episode where I'm going to break down how to create a 52-week marketing plan that you can then just follow like an autopilot. It's one of the most powerful frameworks that I teach, and I'm really excited to show you how to do it next time.